Ready then? Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to see a group of people that haven't showed up for a while. So thank you. It's 2:30 on Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. And this is the regular meeting of the Sandpoint Sustainability Committee. They now call it to order in the city council chambers at City Hall, 1123 West Lake Street, Sandpoint, Idaho. And then for the record, I am Wayne Benner, Chairman presiding, and present are, and we'll go right around.
Pam Duquette,
Patton's here.
Council Liaison.
Yeah,
Mandy Brown, Board Clerk.
Katie Keeney, Staff Liaison.
Katrina Pielli.
Diana Duke, member.
Deborah Dickerson.
Christine Moon, member.
okay. Yeah, so getting close to a quorum. Okay, at this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our May 27th, 2025 meeting.
I move to approve.
Is that Christine?
Yep.
I second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion has passed. Okay, then we'll go into the new business and we'll take up this first so that our guests are not required to stay through the duration of our meeting unless they'd like to. And I will now yield the floor to Alex Engerman for a presentation on a local composting program. Alex, it's all yours.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm Alex Ingerman, and I am the project lead for the Kootenai Tribe Organics program, which was started a few years back. However, I just started on it this last fall, and so I'm happy to share it with you guys here today. Let's see here. Perfect. Okay. So this is a partnership between the University of Idaho and the tribe, the Kootenai tribe, and also some other entities as well have joined in as we've worked through this. This site is in Sandpoint. You guys might have driven by this before. And it's these two pole barns here will be the site for a in-vessel composter and some composting operations. And if you guys don't know, University of Idaho has the Sandpoint Organic Agricultural Center here. And they do local educational opportunities as well as their own little operation there. So we're happy to be a part of that. And the in-vessel composting system has already been ordered, and we're excited. It was through Green Mountain Technologies is the company, and it has a 6-month wait time. So we're about 1 month into that wait time. So about 5 months from now, they'll have it there on site. And this in-vessel composter is super interesting. So it is in a shipping container. It has an auger that moves through it consistently. And there's also a ventilation system that does automatic aeration. There's no or very little odors, depending on how well it's maintained with the organics that go into it. And there's an aeration blower and control system that can be controlled from the outside. A lot of pros to this, including the fact that it doesn't actually have to be inside. So if they choose to move it outside of the pole building, they can move it anywhere they want. Right now, it's going to be sitting in the pole building, which will just aid in keeping it clean, keeping it organized, keeping the workers covered from different weather situations. And we're also hoping to have feedstock in there as well. So this is the layout of the two pole barns that I'm talking about. And so the feedstock material storage and the earth flow composter will go in that first pole barn. And behind it is the second barn, which hopefully will have aerated static piles in the future, but also can be used for curing bays. And they have purchased a screener that will go at the back of that barn. And the screener will eventually go into future bagging operations. But right now, this is how we envision the process to go so far. So the logistics of food waste hauling for this project would be facilitated by the U of I, with trailer loaded with empty carts, and then the empty carts will be swapped for full carts, returning to the staging area, and drop off could be available with special arrangement. We're hoping to have different vendors in the area partner up as this project gets going, maybe with some pilot programs or just different options for locals. And that can be organics or even just yard waste, landscaping, that kind of waste as well, to be able to kind of coordinate with the people at U of I to be able to get those upfront costs low and get those different materials back to SOAC. This is funded by a Swiffer grant with the EPA, but the Swiffer grant didn't fully cover the operational and upfront costs for putting the investable composter in and also putting some electricity in. So we also received a generous donation from Altera, which is the mother company of Schweitzer. And so they are putting in their support because they're going to also be one of the first people who are going to be part of piloting the organic waste coming down the mountain. And then the University of Idaho also pitched in some funding to, and some people and their site to be able to make this a possibility. So no immediate funding asks from the city of Sandpoint, but we would appreciate any and all ideas as far as vendors and other partners go for getting material into this project, organics and otherwise. So rolling into that, we would like carbon-rich materials to support the composting program. And maybe this could be like leaves, wood chips, paper, cardboard waste, landscaping debris, and also organic waste as well. So keeping it local so that people don't have to go out of city limits to get this compost. And there could be mutual benefiting relationship here, where it strengthens regional environmental collaboration. And so we're hoping to just kind of like brainstorm ideas and be able to come up with a good list of different partners that we can utilize to make this project successful. Oop, going back to that one, sorry. But I'll leave my contact information here too, and I'll take questions, of course, now. But I just wanted to make sure, I just skipped it again. I just want to make sure that you guys have my information so that we can chat and collaborate to see if maybe we can get something going for different materials that can go to this composting site.
Alex, Diana
Yeah.
Duke, I'm wondering, have you spoke to the city about, our leave collection and?
Yeah,
Um,
so sorry, to be clear, the president of our company did do a presentation on this at the last city council meeting. I just wanted to present to you guys to kind of get a more informal conversation going. Get like pick your brains. Pam invited me here, and so I wanted to make sure that you guys are all educated on it, and so that we can kind of get a more brainstorming session going.
okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Yeah.
Alex, this is Wayne.
Yeah.
Have you talked to the pole yard about wood scrap material?
The where are they at? Sorry.
The pole yard, McFarland's pole yard, where they're peeling logs for power poles?
Oh, okay, that's a good idea. We have not. I don't think we've spoken to them yet. I'm gonna put that in my notes right now. Because yeah, we haven't spoke to them yet in my experience. So I'll put them in my notes. That's a really good idea.
And then this is Wayne again. I have a neighbor that's working on setting up a restaurant. Actually, the restaurant in town's about ready to go. And
Uh-huh.
can I give him your name to contact because he's very interested in participating?
Yes, 100%. You can give me my contact to anybody you'd like.
Thank you.
I'm very willing to talk to anybody about this project. Awesome.
Have you talked to the Downtown Chamber of Commerce at all? Just in terms of reaching a number of businesses?
I have not. We have spoken to one person from there, but we haven't presented or anything, but I'd be more than willing to present to them. So I will definitely I'll note that as well.
And what's
The
the
cha-
operating structure of this? Is it a for-profit or you mentioned the partnerships, but like who's actually, like, who owns this and kind of who's gonna make sure there's funding to operate and maintain it over time?
Yeah, so right now the Kootenai tribe owns it until the operation is fully up and running, and then the Kootenai tribe is going to hand it over to the University of Idaho. And so the University of Idaho will be responsible for the funding in the future, and it will be fully grant funded under the University of Idaho until until the one operator, I will say, is a staff member of the University of Idaho. So it won't officially go away if there's no grant. It just might downsize if there's no, but we have a good feeling that it will continue to roll forward, especially once there is a profit involved in the compost.
Thank you.
Yeah.
In conjunction with that, is the idea to sell the compost or to give it to people in the city limits or?
Yeah, so it really depends on what relationships are built and what partnerships are built. There is talk of selling, especially since most people in this region have to go outside this region to get compost. To be able to sell them something that's probably going to be cheaper and more local, it will probably be sold. But however, if partnerships are built and other relationships are built, there could be deals put into place where, you supply material for the compost or you get compost back, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
You might want to talk to the chamber and
Yeah.
see if, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll put them in my notes and then yeah, is there any other entities that you feel as though may want to hear about this? Because yeah, all ears.
Alex, this includes the whole county. It's not just strictly Sandpoint, correct?
It's located in Sandpoint, but if someone wants to supply and they're outside of the
Okay.
city of Sandpoint, then yeah, we're more than willing to accept anything. But we were just hitting on the city of Sandpoint first since it's just easier that way, and then expanding out from there.
Because I was thinking of Priest River, which might be a good base to contact.
Okay. Yeah.
They don't have a lot of restaurants, but they do have some.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Plus, they have the school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lumber yards, I mean, they already talked about the pole lumber, but there's, Clede.
Mhm.
And then further down, in Old Town, there's a lumber yard there. Is there any other super local one? Is that that's it?
Not
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, I know
I
not.
do Lignetics. I don't know if they, how they handle any of the waste attached to their operation.
Who's that?
Lignetics out in Ponderay.
Oh, Lignetics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex, Pam, I have a question just for people's information. Since I already was able to visit what you're doing, when would it be open and who would be able to come see what you're doing before it's totally completed, if that's going to be allowed, just for interest?
Yeah. Yeah, so we're really hoping that once it's up and running, that people will be able to come and do tours whenever to learn about the process. That's U of I's goal as well, is to be able to educate the public on, not only like making sure that your organics are clean and not contaminated, but what comes out the other side and how it benefits them as well, since they're a fully organic agricultural center. But I think once the vessel gets in about 5 months, I think they're going to be rapid fire up and rolling right after that. So hopefully this fall or early spring, we'll be able to show you guys kind of what the operation is going to look like. Not necessarily the bagging process quite yet. I think that's a little bit more down the line once we reach a happy medium and get some more funding. But yeah, that first initial area of operations will be probably in, yeah, the next 5 to 6 months.
How will you advertise that for people?
I think that'll be up to the University of Idaho. But I'm hoping that it will be more of an educational thing. So advertise the university and the local schools, and of course with the council as well. But I'll put that up in the air. So don't quote me on that one. But that would be where my thought would go to. Yeah.
Good. My question, just how do you get waste, like from Schweitzer, clean enough to be utilized? Just curious.
Yeah, so another part of our job at Resource Synergy is to educate and do outreach to local entities such as staff, residential areas, and other areas for signage, how to use compost, and then just how to sort your waste, I guess, would be the best option. So there's no guarantee that it's going to be completely not contaminated, and that might be an issue in the upcoming years where they have to hire staff, at like Schweitzer to sort through the organics. But the ideal thing is that the signage is clear enough and the waste that they're putting in, so say like the utensils and everything, is clear enough labeled that they're able to sort in a easy way, I guess is the best way to put it. And so there's no guarantee, but with clear signage, education, and encouragement, motivation, the hope is that the contamination will be very, very minimal.
Will there be another check at your facility on that? Because I just know with the recycle bins that we put around town,
Right.
it's signed, but I get garbage.
Yeah, no, and that will be kind of like a learn as we go process, I'm sure. It might be where, it's dumped on the floor first couple rounds just to see what kind of stuff we're getting from different entities, and then from there it's like a trust factor as well. But it should be it should just be kind of like a trial and error period for a while too, and like questioning like where these first rounds of compost are going to go to based off of what we're looking at. So yeah, but those are good questions because yeah, I mean, yeah, you can't trust everything, and there's probably always going to be some sort of contamination, even if it's accidental. But the hope is as minimal as possible. So yeah.
Alex, would you also be willing to open it up to individuals within the community? My thought is, I've seen people before ask, is there some place I can take my waste?
Great.
And they really don't want to throw it out. So if you have people that are very dedicated to getting their waste thrown out, that might even be a better source than, say, a restaurant where people are just, may not care. Yeah, I didn't want to say
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. And I think, yes, I don't know about having it be picked up, but bringing it to SOAC, 100%, I think that they'd be happy to take individual compost there. Yeah, the pickup's kind of iffy. I don't know if they'll be able to, what will be worth it and what won't be, but yeah, I definitely think that there could be potential for individuals to be welcomed in.
Great.
Mhm.
Yes.
Alex,
Go ahead.
Dwayne again, the question, what about all the moisture and water that comes from organic waste when you're collecting it? Is there
Yeah.
some, that you're gonna reuse that, or what's
So
gonna happen?
It's technically needed in the breakdown process for composting. When the organic waste is dumped into the in vessel, there's also carbon waste and other brown waste that's mixed with it, and so that extra moisture is needed in the heating process. To be able to activate all of the bacteria to be able to compost it quickly. It's aerated in there, so the liquid actually doesn't really matter as much once it's aerated and mixed and heated. That goes away pretty quickly. But that is a good question, and that is the reason why your garbage, if you don't compost, is so heavy because there is so much of that organic waste in there. So that's a good question.
One more for me, Pam.
Yeah.
What was it? There goes my brain. Oh, organic. So like leaves that come from yards that use sprays, grass clippings that come from yards. Will in the future there be any organic requirements to things? People would need to know, of course, if they're coming to get some, that it is or is not organic. I'm just curious how that would.
Right, and that I think that will be up to the university, especially if we open it up to unknown sources. We probably will not label it as organic, but that also means that SOAC would probably not use it on their own
Right.
farm, unfortunately. So, I think that'll just definitely be up to, and it will be, like we ask, what went into this yard when you like, trimmed it, and stuff like that. So, that's definitely just a decision that will have to be made by the university, for sure. 'Cause, yeah, that is definitely something to consider. But I would say that more than likely it'll just be one of those things where, you ask the source where it came from and hope that they're truthful. However, it also comes down to, like they're actual organic farms, so they will not be able to just trust people with everything that comes in.
Sure, great,
Yeah.
much appreciated. Like
Yeah.
I said, when I came out, I have spoken to the mayor several times. He also is in favor. We have talked about trying to get a city compost. I can't wait until you're up and running.
I know. Tell them to hurry up and make the in vessel quick.
Thanks a lot, Alex.
Thank you so
you.
much for inviting me. You guys are a treat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Any other questions real quick before she goes? Okay, thanks, Alex.
Thanks
We
so
look
much.
forward to seeing more of this on site here within 5 months now.
Yes, hopefully. Quick as possible. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, thank you.
You.
Thanks, Pam.
Pretty exciting, pretty exciting.
Yeah, thank
Where
you.
is those two buildings? Where are they? I couldn't tell from the map.
So if you're going towards the U of I Ag Center.
Yeah.
They're on the right-hand side before the orchard.
Okay,
And there's
perfect.
just two buildings sitting out there that aren't being used.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is. I know. It's-
So, a good job for somebody looking to sort garbage.
I was thinking of your rabbit.
I do my own, my
Yeah.
compost is,
Yeah.
it is a project,
Yeah.
believe me.
It might be.
Because I don't have all that set up, that auger and
Yeah.
everything else.
Right, just wondering if you could utilize. it. Anyway,
Yeah.
in the future.
Because we've got 3 bins that we rotate. Process. Yeah. Okay, we'll go on to the next item, and the next is under the old business, and we could continue the discussion about upcoming city projects and the proposed parking ordinance and relevance of these topics to sustainability.
You skipped number 3, Lee.
And
Oh, checked off the wrong one, sorry about that. I apologize.
Unless you want to go out of order.
Next, we will pick up the old business, continuing on discussion of the comprehensive plan chapters and the relationship to sustainability.
Yeah, I mean, I had updated the matrix based on the conversation we had at the last meeting that I was at. I missed a couple because I was traveling for work. It just has never been entirely clear to me what the committee actually wanted to do. I thought we were on the same page and then discovered we weren't, and then I updated it and then no one did anything with it. So I'm honestly not sure what y'all want to do with it. This is my last meeting. I decided not to extend. And one reason is because I was never quite clear what we were actually here to accomplish candidly. So I'm happy to be a resource. I'm happy to talk through the spreadsheet that as it exists today, it's on the portal. It contains information from everyone in their review of the comp plan. So I'm happy to be supportive however I can, but I'm just honestly not sure how you all would like, or if you'd like to carry it forward. So I want to be respectful, knowing this is my last time with you, and how can I best help you going forward if you would like to use it in some way?
I did look at it. And I think that going through this process here, people really realized working with the comp plan. Comp plan is really the sustainability plan for the city in essence. There's places that need to be updated based off of sustainability. And looking at some of the other comp plans, sustainability plans from other communities around the area, it is their comprehensive plan, maybe with a section or some pieces of it going that direction. And I think that looking at your matrix, it really brings that to light when you look at that and you look back at our comp plan. There's a lot in there talking about sustainability. So I appreciate what you did. I mean, that really helped. I stand.
What would be helpful to you all in terms of the time we have together today, so I can contribute to your further work if that's useful?
Do we want to bring the matrix up and talk about any of it, or?
Can, if that's what be necessary to look at. That's one. Okay, I'll go around for some questions. Pam, go ahead. You can ask your question.
I thought our goal was, or your goal was to use that to make a sustainability checklist for the city, which was one of our goals, our first goal.
Yep.
And I missed a couple meetings, and I guess I too wondered what we were coming up with.
Yeah.
Using it. So how, if that's still the goal of everybody, how do you all think you can use that to come up with a checklist for the city, which is what I thought our goal was?
If you look at it, you can build a checklist off of it.
Can I, so I did a little bit of the homework I said I was gonna do, and I watched the pedestrian and biking committee meeting. They were struggling with the same issue. I don't know if anybody else saw this, but they weren't quite sure what their purpose was. And what they came up with was they, does anyone know Brandon? I don't know if he was is he from planning?
City.
Is that what he is?
City
Okay,
engineer.
because he was kind of on one side, and then everyone else, the committee chair members, were asking him, what is expected of us? And what they came up with together, they talked about the whole meeting, and they were having the same struggles that we were having. But they came up with, he said, well, if you all take a look at our plans, right? And every time we have a project and a plan, take a look at those. And prior to us making decisions on it, you look at it and come up with bullet points as to what your recommendations are. And even vote on those in order as to what is most important for this particular project. So, say it would be the parking lot project, right? We would come up with ideas. Well, this is what they could do. This is what they could do. And then we would vote on, okay, well, what are the best ideas in a bullet pointed order, something that we could hand to them and say, for each individual project, not just an overall, here, every time you do a project, here's a list of things that you should consider, because they're probably going to do that unless it's specific to that project. So I thought that was a great idea.
Well, and I think that's kind of where our checklist was coming up with those there. Because we did talk about gonna have to be specialized for projects and departments. That part.
Yeah, so one of the things that they were asked to do, and it was funny because we talked about it last week. We talked about bike lanes, but we also talked about bike racks within the city. Remember, we kind of started talking about that, and then that was on their agenda. I'm like, oh, wow, we're just talking about this. So the interesting thing, what they're doing is, they took it upon themselves to go through, they're going through the entire city and doing a survey on how many bike racks there are throughout the city, because they had wanted to put them in that parking lot. And they determined that was a bad idea, because most people, if they're on bike, they want to go to their specific spot. They don't want to go through a bunch of cars to park their bike in the middle of a parking lot. So that was just one idea that, okay, they're coming up with, they're gonna do a survey. And then after they come up with the survey, then they'll come up with ideas of where they can put the bike racks. And then when the city does their overall plan for, for just, bike infrastructure, then, they can make their recommendations.
I like that. And it would be, I think, the role of sustainability to say to ourselves and then them, what would this project, how can this project be applicable to us now and to Sandpointers in 50 years? I mean, we have that mandate, right? We said future generations, it's us and future generations. And so that would be where we would be, not just getting into the nuts and bolts of every commission, but also providing this view, this special view that maybe isn't being provided now.
Yeah. Well, and I went actually to the historic preservation meeting. But they were deciding on art around town, so they really didn't get into any discussions about. It was just a meeting to vote on next art pieces to be placed around town. So they didn't get into any other further discussion. But in reality, I mean, yeah, you're talking about bike racks. What about other parking spaces around town for electric vehicles, electric golf carts? We're making bike racks for bicycles, but bicycles are going to be obsolete because everything's electrified.
Well, I'm not sure I agree with that.
Well, but you're going to have them, but I mean, really,
Yeah, both.
you're going to have both, but more and more electric bike is becoming your commuter bike. People in town to get to someplace to get something. Your pedaling bikes are becoming exercise bikes, mountain biking and that type of stuff.
I use my bike every day.
Yeah, I'm like, anyway.
I do too. That's neighbor's not
Yeah.
using it, but
But the electric, they did talk about that too, the infrastructure for electric bikes and other, electric devices people use, but yeah, they talked about that as well. So, but they were really specifically looking at that particular, and they were actually asked to do that though for this project, I guess. So,
and
I mean,
that's just an example.
yeah, yeah.
Well, so we're kind of flipping.
Mhm.
This isn't a complaint or criticism at all. We're flipping, like we're gonna carry a checklist and we're gonna give it out to all the departments. And how specific it was or whatever. And what I'm hearing is if there's a project that's going on, I guess if we let the city know, then they would submit it to us for some kind of review. And we'd still need a checklist for us to do at a high level, and then we'd have to dig into the project and compare it to the comprehensive plan with that sustainability view. Is that, I know what we're
You've
considering? Okay.
pretty much hit everything right on the nose.
I thought though that we were gonna create some subcommittees to continue to work on the comprehensive plan, right? And I think we could work on the the projects the upcoming projects as well. I think we can do both in conjunction.
Well, what would be the purpose of continuing through the comprehensive plan? I mean, or the check, I mean.
Matrix.
Yeah, I don't get why we'd have to
Yeah.
keep combing through the matrix. That's fine.
You don't.
You
I mean,
don't
this is up to you all, right? The idea behind compiling the matrix was to then allow you to identify areas where questions were similar between topics. And then from there, you could pull it down. Because right now, there's like 90 individual questions. When you try to identify overlaps, I think it might drop to the 70s. It's too many. And so the idea would be that then this group would actually go through and prioritize and come up with the top 5 or however much you want. And then that would become your checklist. So making it would force a prioritization conversation. Because my only fear with this idea of like the committee would review projects and give recommendations, you're gonna end up with 90 blue sky projects and the city's gonna be like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, this is not helpful. And so if you use the checklist and the prioritized questions as a lens by which you would then come up with your feedback on an individual project, it would allow you to stay anchored in things that might actually be relevant for implementation, not just like a really interesting, fascinating idea that is kind of not grounded in reality. So in my mind, the next step would be to actually prioritize and sort, come up with that short list that would become your checklist, which then would be the lens through which you would look at a project, for example.
And when your checklist, looking at the entire comprehensive plan, there are so many pieces to it, but they overlap.
Yes.
When we start to go back down through it, we're gonna come up with a handful of really pertinent
Correct.
questions that basically cover the entire comp plan,
Mhm.
in a sense, when you look at it. Is this really sustainable when you look at from the transportation to the economics to the, basically our community economics and so
Yeah.
I think it's actually, no, it was great, because when I looked at it, I thought this is perfect for really narrowing it down to come up with it. Because the checklist for everybody is gonna be pretty much the same. There's gonna be some specifics, but not that many. Any other questions? And on that? Well, since there's a lull in this committee, Pam, go ahead.
I'm just wondering if we want to group some of that kind of by committee. So we talked last time about, we're kind of like the top level, sustainability covers all of that. Is there some way we could group like by, what's by pet? How do we help when they're coming up with something? What's the urban forest? What's the art? We don't have much maybe on that. Just like that. I'm just saying, if we decided like last time, we talked parks things. Yeah, definitely parks. So like we talked about last time. And so that I know that Mary went and spoke to somebody on the tree committee about sustainable landscaping. Just saying, if we had a checklist like to help each committee to start there, it wouldn't be as
Yeah.
overarching perhaps.
I mean, the nice thing is you've got the information sliced in a couple of different ways based on the tab that you're looking at. So I did put a read me first tab, so hopefully that has helped everyone understand what information is in there and how you can use it, but there is a tab that has topics at the top. And then you've got all the chapters, and so it is saying like, oh, this question is applicable to transportation as well as Parks and Rec and zoning. And so if you looked at it by topic and you said, well, what are the topics that this committee is focused on? You could then pull the questions and then do that same prioritization activity, because you're still not gonna want to give them 20 or 30, you're still gonna want to shorten it up. But you could use that top line topic list as a way to sort by committee.
I think part of the reason why we're struggling with it is because it's a beast. We took on this, I don't know, how many pages is the comprehensive plan, and then we all did separate things. It's not a bad idea, but I look at that thing with all those questions, I have no idea what to do with that. Cause they're still duplicated, there's, does Sandpoint have a sustainability office? No. Okay. Are we gonna do something with that? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it's a
Well,
bad
that's up to
question.
Well, it's not my question, Doug.
No, I'm just using it as an example. It's not a bad question, but asked and answered. So do we answer some of these questions and then eliminate them? That's where I'm stuck. It's so big.
I mean, if you were asking me, so I've deliberately tried not to drive this because I'm not in charge. I'm here to facilitate. I'm with you guys. If you're asking me to try to manage this process, no, we would go through and we'd be like, not relevant, not relevant, not relevant.
Exactly.
What has been killing me about this committee is that we're not able to actually do anything. I feel like we just sit here and we talk. I've tried and I feel like nothing happens. And so if someone wants to take on the mantle of using the checklist, by all means, if you don't find it helpful and you want anything else, by all means. But just candidly, like, it felt like we never actually wanted to dig in and do something. And I didn't feel comfortable driving and pushing because I'm not in charge. I was trying to sort of shepherd us, but it's clearly not been helpful. So I'm here with you guys until the end of the meeting. I'm a resource in the community, but whatever you guys want to do.
Well, I guess that kind of goes down to the point of what do we do next then? And since there's only two people here besides Pam that is gonna be here for the next meeting.
Oh. Great, Christine.
So it seems like maybe we're driving toward arriving at a two-prong mission. One would be we have some overarching priorities that somebody could find and read. So they're starting a project and they're saying, well, what should we be doing about this for sustainability? And then we also would be consulted on individual projects, and we would use those same principles to advise people on their project. And we would go, and the comp plan is our touchstone for that. So they don't have to go through the comp plan and see what should we be doing for sustainability. They would be able to like look it up, and there would be some, it needs to be not so abstract that it's not usable. It's going to take a while to, I think, arrive at it. And it's probably a process of, it's maybe a process of refinement. After 5 years of doing this, we want it to be sustainable, right? So we kind of have to keep at it until it runs. It kind of runs, no matter who's on the committee or which body is reviewing. Maybe it's not this committee, maybe eventually it's somebody else who's reviewing city projects and activities for their sustainability. I mean, I think that's what we all want.
Well, I'm kind of in the same thinking as Katrina, where it doesn't feel like when it comes to this checklist, we're willing to say not valid, and just remove them. Just, they're done. Like, there's questions that just don't need to be there because we're not going to influence that. If we're not going to influence that, then why is it still there? Or else we just put it into miscellaneous and we ignore it. But if we don't start getting some sort of direction here about what value we're going to provide to the city, then we're not going to be in existence. We're already heading in that direction. So, and Like, we're already heading in that direction. So, and at this point, we don't have enough members to continue. But if we do gain a couple more members, then I think we have to either create subcommittees or something where we can move things forward and come up with something like a checklist, whether we use it, or the city uses it, I don't care, but something that is usable.
I'd be willing to be on a subcommittee to go through the entire matrix and pick out the questions or statements that I think are most relevant. And I
Okay.
mean, maybe if anybody in the subcommittee, if we all wanted to do it, go through and pick out those statements that we think are most relevant. And then just, get together and bring them together and say, here's my list. Let's take a look at your list, or you can just read off, hey, these are the top, 10. Say we each say 10 statements about sustainability that are within that matrix. I'd be willing to do that.
When we talked last time, I thought was the goal,
Mm-hmm.
and I was told that it had already been done. It hadn't been, but I was told that you had already gone through
Well, we each,
most
yeah,
of it, because I did miss those two meetings.
Oh,
the
right.
One special one and the
Yeah.
one when I was. I'm just saying that's where I thought we were going last. But I was told that we had already done that. And that's why we waited for you to see. I thought that was your goal, to do that.
well, we were all gonna do it together, but I think it was really too complicated because then we couldn't get it on the phone. Remember, we couldn't even pull it up on the screen and it was really hard to do without actually seeing it. So I think, we were all treading water.
I think we have had some issues.
But when I'm home, I can bring it up and I know exactly what's going on. It's just right now, like I can't even bring it up on my phone, so.
I love the idea of everyone downloading it and doing that and then coming back together to go through it together. I mean, it's on the website. Everyone can download it. That's a great idea.
I'm kind of with Pam. I thought that was because you guys were all assigned chapters.
Well, that's where the questions came
That's
from.
where I came
That's where they all,
That was a fall effort. And that this is a consolidated list,
Yep.
and what we've never really been able to come to consensus on is what we do with it. Now that we have all these questions about sustainability, where do we go from here? And that's, we've talked about subcommittee before, we weren't sure if we could do a subcommittee, so that got set aside.
I have a subcommittee. You do have to get approval from the mayor. Pam might be able to correct me on that.
oh,
Yeah, there was a limitation, there was impurity, that's why it was never created.
There's nothing that says you guys can't then decide to take up this consolidated matrix
Yep.
and split it up again amongst yourselves for everybody to like have another smaller portion to work on. Get, some highlights and things like that to bring back to the next meeting. Then, because then you're just not violating the open meeting laws.
Okay.
So there's nothing that says you guys can't work on this outside of the meeting. You guys just can't meet for coffee together, right? To discuss this outside of.
I see, okay.
So individually.
Yeah.
Would be your committee. We don't have enough people to make committees. The mayor is not in favor of subcommittees. It
Okay.
takes staff time.
I see,
We don't.
It's a formal thing.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, then I'd be willing to just, on my time,
I knew there was-
bring a list the next time, to the next meeting and say, these are the things that I think are great and.
You know what
Yeah.
you might do, if you have it, you could pull it up, and you could go through the topic list and everyone could say, well, I'm interested in prioritizing that topic. And then that would be your homework, is you would download it and you would prioritize that topic and you would come up with your short list of whatever the top 5 questions or whatever.
And that's what we wound up doing the last meeting, because I said, well,
tried.
let's just talk about the bike stuff that was my chapter, because that's what I knew, so. Yeah, so we kind of talked about that, so, anyway.
We do need focus. And it is hard. It is a
Yeah.
it's a huge thing,
Yep.
sustainability. It encompasses, like we've talked about, everything. Which is gonna
Yeah.
take a while. Focus it. And we did have some meetings where we didn't have quorums and the timing wasn't working. mean, in defense of everybody's efforts. I think once we get those things taken care of, new timing, and now we need new members. I think
So next month we won't have quorum.
I mean, unless people apply to,
They have to apply to join and then be approved.
so if you know anybody that you think would be good or has the time,
Okay.
yep,
and we'll commit.
please,
That's the big part.
yeah. Options are on the website.
Yeah.
The Mayor even said he's open to potentially one person that's not inside city limits if they, you know, meet the right criteria.
And that's Katrina's.
Yeah, that was viral.
Yeah,
So we get one of those.
yeah. Yeah, they don't, it doesn't have to necessarily just be,
But we would like city people
Mhm.
because they would have the
It's your tax.
need,
Okay.
the want to have their city
Mhm.
sustainable. Not that you are an outsider at all. I really appreciated having that. All I can find so far is out of city people that I know who are qualified. So we can only have one of those. So I have been beating the bush. I've got it on Bonner alerts on the email. You know, it's like, just get out there and ask who and have them read the duties so they understand and the commitment. And we've got the new time, hopefully will work. And just see what we can get. Yeah, otherwise next month there is no meeting. But that gives us good time. I'm sorry, I know I'm not supposed to be this involved. I just can't help it. You know. To work on some things on our own that are gonna focus us when we come back. And when we get to the part about announcements, I do have something from the mayor to share. And I had a couple of ideas to share. That's my turn. I don't get to talk now.
Okay, I do have a question on what I'm allowed to do as far as with the pedestrian and biking committee. Am I allowed to contact members on their committee, like that Molly person? Am I allowed to contact? Well, I watched their meeting and they were looking for help with identifying stuff.
you should contact their staff liaison
Yeah.
or their,
I think it.
I'm not sure.
Haley, I remember that name, yes.
And then they, like, what you're wanting. And then they can forward it to Molly. That way there has to be like a middleman. So that you guys aren't violating meeting laws.
Okay.
It's just.
Only because I would be willing to help them out and also maybe, you know, get, like, not steal from the way that they're running things, but it seemed to be like they started the meeting kind of where we are, but they ended the meeting. It was really beautiful to watch actually, because they ended the meeting and they knew they had a goal, they had a plan.
And if I can just say, well, that is their job. That's their committee is to tackle those things. Like I was saying, if we had a checklist as an overseer or to help in the end, I don't think that's our job to get involved in their decisions.
Oh, no. They were looking for help doing the bike rack survey. And I can help with that, right? Okay.
As
I
a
mean,
resident,
That's what I
maybe
wanted to do.
That's where I would reach out to their clerk. And ask. Haley will be able to give you that answer.
I have your email.
just maybe as a resident.
Yeah, I think maybe as a resident, not as sustainability committee member. Yeah, like. Reference is the only thing, church and state. It's the only thing I can think of. It's not a good reference for this at all, but like, they have to be separated.
Okay, yep,
So.
thank you.
That was like the weirdest reference.
It's like, no, I get it.
No.
It's a good metaphor.
So thinking ahead to optimistically July, or maybe more realistically August, when we come back together with new members, would it be a good idea for individuals of us to go through the checklist and try to come up with some suggestions for how to proceed to prioritize and group topics, to come up with a sort of an overarching checklist that could apply. I mean, we want to have some principles or some actions that would apply across projects, right?
I think that was the hope.
Yes,
Right.
and that's what I'm gonna do. I mean, that's what I plan to do too. So if, you know,
I will
know.
do that as well.
Do you want to actually assign topics? I don't know if you can pull up the spreadsheet, because this has happened before where it's like, oh, we'll do things and then nothing happens. So like, do you actually want to take a minute and do topics, or do you want to do it by email after? Or like,
No, can't do it after.
are
That'd be
you
good.
able to pull up?
We have to keep this Zoom up and I don't have your,
I can,
can I share a link with you?
yes.
That way you can just close it out and then move on.
And we don't have Mary is all. And we won't have you.
personally, I was just gonna go through the entire thing. Because I
and did-
just wanted to see all of it, because I've already done like
Yeah.
my chapter.
So, but what are we gonna do? So you're gonna go through all of it. Are you eliminating questions? Like, if,
No, I'm just
I
gonna
don't mind.
pick, I just pick topics, I just pick items that I would think.
so you're gonna,
Be
you're
prior.
gonna check mark or indicate somehow what you think is the most important.
I'm just gonna write it down on a piece of paper for myself.
Oh, gosh,
I'm not
doing
gonna-
that. I'm not writing anything down.
I would recommend
Well,
you,
you can do it on a computer.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it on the computer if I'm gonna do anything.
Right.
I do too, but not with, not a 90 question thing that, no.
Well, I think it would be kind of easy to go through, because like you said, half of them are no.
Yeah, but all I want to make sure, if we're going to do this, I'm fine with the effort. I want to make sure we're going to be consistent in the effort. So are we going to go through and mark which things we should talk about and the rest we ignore? And there may be some that I think are important that you don't, that's fine, we'll talk about that. But then finally, we're starting to cull the list. That's just all I'm trying to get to. When we get to maybe 20, that would be awesome, you know?
Would it be spinning our wheels if we each approached it in our own way and then came together
No.
with what?
Yes, to me, that's spinning wheels. I'm not interested in that.
I think I would just group them in. Here's the A list, here's the B list, and the C list is probably gone. Here's the priority, next one's down, and,
I'm fine with ABC.
and then
I
that way
just-
you could look at it and just say, okay, C list. no,
We did,
no,
we eliminate that, we
Or-
wish to eliminate
Yeah,
that.
that one
Yeah.
goes to a B list, and then you go through the B list, and
No, we go to the A list first. We'd start with A, because that's the list we'll likely come up with, and if somebody thinks something's missing on the A list, then we talk about that.
yeah. whichever way you-
I'm fine
Whatever
with
way you
ABC.
do it.
I'd recommend you give yourselves a cap though. Is it 5 questions for each topic for the A list? Like, so that way everyone, so like, you're not thinking it's 5 and you're thinking it's 10.
Yeah,
So the consistency would be helpful, just,
Yeah, that's a good point, it's just maybe just leave it at, say, 10, start.
So we're gonna do 10,
Then
but
get together and.
which topic?
yeah, so wait, so hold on. So right now, there's probably, do you know how many areas there are off the top?
About a dozen.
So if we do 10 for each topic, no, that doesn't work.
I would say 5.
Okay, 5 at most, because a lot of them are still gonna cross over. See, that's the thing is.
Looking at
so much-
just 10 total.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
think that's,
that's what I was thinking.
yeah, but we're never gonna get through, because I'm gonna think differently than you. And if we all come in with 10,
Well, I think you're gonna see though that you're right. There's so much overlap on a lot of, when I went through it, I could see, okay.
Oh,
these
there's
two are
tons
the
of them.
Same, just worded differently. These are the same, but worded differently. So when you start really going down through it, you're not gonna have that many
Right.
when it's all dead, all said and done.
What you could do, so on that tab, if we have it with the topics at the top and the questions on the vertical axis, there's X's to indicate if that question is relevant for each topic. So if you're looking at the mobility topic area and you identify the 5 or 10 that you think these are my A list, and you literally just color the cell green. And then someone else would look at utilities and they would color their top 5 green. there's a good chance that some of those greens are gonna have the same X's, which then that becomes a roll-up that you've identified. And so it allows everyone to focus on the topic areas that they care about and they know a lot about. Bring their short list, and then you see where's the overlap, where have multiple people selected green, and that question maybe advances to the final round for consideration. But if you all do it on that tab, it allows you to easily look at the colors and see how many people in that question have tagged that as a green.
So we're gonna go from 120 questions to 10 for each of us.
It's up to you guys.
Okay, I don't know, I'm just saying like that, I
I
don't
would
know.
say 5 to 10 per topic, which is the vertical row.
Right, but then that's 12 topics. That's
Correct.
my point is,
And then there are likely multiple topics that are relevant to the same question. So then you could probably drop it down further. And then you say, great, that was our A list. Now we're all gonna get together and say, do these questions even bubble to the top for us when we say, here's our short list? You're an expert on biking, maybe Pam's not.
I'm still, no, I'm not following how, I'm not.
Can we,
Are you trying?
Maybe then we can
Are you
break
trying
it
to pull that
down
up on the
and
screen?
each take chapters if we want to
But
do
then
it.
we
that
already
way.
did that. Then we just end up with duplicates and.
Yeah, but we only did, like, I only did 2 chapters, like maybe we could do 4 chapters each, or I don't know. I mean, I'm just willing to do whatever it takes.
well, I think I feel like the matrix is now our source material, right? We derived that from the comp plan. So we're not necessarily going to be going back to the comp plan. We're going to be reworking the matrix to try to prioritize so that we have it manageable for ourselves and others to be able to use. What can we pull it up and look at it?
Working on it.
Yeah, I think they're working. on
Okay,
it.
so we're at 3:30. What else, what other business do we have to do today? Because we're done at 4. So I'm just pointing that out. I'm just that kind of person.
I almost thought we were ending at 3:30. I was like, oh my gosh, how are we gonna get everything done?
Because I need a few minutes during that
Why
announcement.
don't you just move on?
Well, I know that, that's why I'm asking. And then we do have another agenda item, discuss upcoming city projects and the proposed parking ordinance. So that's why I'm asking that question now. So here's what I'm gonna take a stab at. I'm gonna at least go through the ones that are irrelevant. And I'm not gonna delete them because we need to keep the same numbers. I'm gonna hide them, just so they're out of my sight. And if someone else thinks that that's really important, then I can unhide it. And I'll be at the same number as everybody else. So don't delete anything out of that matrix, if that's gonna be our starting point. So for me, I think it would be valuable just for me to eliminate the ones that are of no value. I don't know, at least that's a start.
Sorry.
It's okay. Appreciate
So, but if you hide it, then we can't see it?
It's not a Google Doc, so everyone does.
It's not a Google, everybody will do it.
Oh, okay.
No, you download it, yeah, it's an Excel spreadsheet. So you download it and then you have your own instance of it.
Got it.
And I'm gonna take a stab at that and then maybe I'll start doing some kind of hire, I don't know.
Okay.
But what I do know is don't change the row numbers.
Yeah.
Cause then we're
It would become a lot harder.
just so we can have a conversation and know we're talking about the same thing. That's all that's about.
And can our different versions be put on the repository? Then we can have them.
I mean, that's fine. You guys just have to respond, get them to us in the timely.
Well,
Yeah.
so we're very unsure. It's very unlikely we're gonna meet next month. This point,
Yeah,
that
right.
we can tell.
That'll give us.
So this would be in August, and have it done at least a week ahead of time, right?
The week before the August meeting, yes. So August meeting would be the 26th. Yeah, the 4th Tuesday in August. So we would need to have everything back from you guys by the 19th, so that we have time to do anything to it if we need to, or get it prepared, and then add it to the agenda and put it on the website. If you have it done before that, send it
Yeah.
over.
Do you want it done so that people can look at it?
I
always before that?
Personally think that would be great,
Yeah.
but it's not my job to tell you guys how to do this.
To me, it makes
Yeah.
sense.
So
So we don't come in blind.
even if you guys,
And
everybody understands that it's not, you guys aren't going to have a July meeting. Make that maybe your personal goal to have it ready in time so that then everybody has a nice month to review it. It's summertime.
Mhm.
And I mean, I know I'm not on the committee, but if I was, I wouldn't be spending a, be nice to have a month
Yeah,
to like find time to do it, right? Rather than 4 days.
So give ourselves a deadline of August 1.
I was thinking even like July 24.
right, when the next meeting would be, if we were.
It's been the hour and a
Uh-huh.
half.
Well, it's July 22nd.
Meeting. But then just like having that as deadline date, so then it gives you.
And then if for some strange reason we have a meeting, we've at least got that.
I like the August 1st date for myself better, and just what I have on my plate already in July.
Yeah, it's
So vote. Why
totally,
don't you make a
yeah, it's up
motion
to you
and
guys how you
vote?
want to manage it.
Or the 29th, that's an extra week, so then that gives me, so I'm not doing anything next week. That's what I'm being blunt about. It's a holiday week. I'm gonna enjoy the holiday. And then I have 4 weeks to come back and work on this in addition to all the other stuff.
So July 29.
Does everybody agree with July 29th then for a tentative date? I mean, the best we can do to get it in, everything submitted by that time?
Does someone want to recap what it is you're doing, just to make sure everyone's on the same page?
Are you not able to get that up on?
Just trying to find it.
Yeah.
It hasn't been like actually linked to our,
Can I
meeting.
share? If I jump on Zoom, can I share? I have to.
It's your email.
Oh, on this committee. Sorry, I have a lot of email addresses.
As another reminder, please check your city email
I do.
often. I'm
It
just,
doesn't have to be your city email. What email would you like it?
Oh, Joyful Strength. JOYFUL
but I mean, that's where staff
STRENGTH
put something on.
at
And we've
yahoo.com.
missed it a lot. I think people haven't. And I get it, you're not used to looking at another email.
Do you want to talk about agenda item 4 while
I really
we wait?
would like to share what the mayor said, make sure I have time for that.
I'm gonna go to that. So everybody knows then what's planned for go through the matrix and still use the ABC kind of layout to look at what's priority, next priority, and then ones that can basically be hidden or not part of it at this stage.
Do
All
we
by the July
want to look
29th.
at areas again of our committees? Just as a start or not? Like things that are urban forest related. Things that might be like a transportation related. It's just an idea.
I think,
Do this first.
yeah, I was just gonna say, I think we need to do this first. and then-
Okay, okay. Sounds good. Whatever you guys think. I was,
Okay,
would like to see it.
then,
Is everybody,
Well, Katrina's idea was go across the top and do X number of greens, right?
By topic, exactly.
5.
But you
And
guys,
then-
yeah, as long as everyone knows, is everyone cool with 5 by topic?
Yeah, and then we'll see how much overlap we have. Do we want to do greens, yellows, and reds? Like
sounds good,
ABC, yeah.
5 green, 5 yellow, 5 red?
sure.
Okay,
So there it is.
Yeah,
there we go.
perfect.
Ah,
So you're gonna go across those yellows are the topic,
okay,
and
Every agenda. item.
every question is vertical in column, there you go, in column A.
Thank
You'll
you.
see one question can have multiple ticks by topic area. So if you guys wanted to divide up the topics, which are the yellows, and say per column, per yellow, you can have 5 greens, 5 yellows, and maybe all the rest you're just gonna eliminate. And then the idea is then you look across that question and see if there are multiple greens that would then allow you to sort of advance that forward. Or are there multiple yellows? And it allows you to then consolidate in a way that leverages everyone's key focus. So you can all choose to do it for all of the topic areas, all the yellows, or you could divide up the topic areas and each person take a handful that they care a lot about.
and that might help, so I share Jeremy's idea.
Well, let's hear it. I mean, you've been saying it all, I mean, if it's pertinent to what we're talking about, we have to hear it instead of
Okay,
following this
Okay.
thing that
just
isn't
out of
helping
order, but
us.
I just don't want to run out of time. So he too was frustrated by the lack of focus, like we all are, and direction. And that's just because it is this huge thing. He was under the impression what we were trying to do was create a sustainability plan that will address all actions of the city.
No.
That's- But that's what I thought we talked about also. That's the plan, is to get a sustainability plan. I know that's not an easy task. I just wanted to throw out that I found 5 cities who have about the same population we have, about the same economics, who have a sustainability. I'm thinking that that's something at some point, each of us could take one, see how they came up with it, see what it involves. What does it look like? Because I bet half of us don't have a clue what a sustainability plan looks like. Payette has 8,600 people, Haley has 9,800 people, Whitefish has 9,100 people, McCall has less. That's Meredith Todd that we were trying to get, that I hope we can get still. Christine, if you wanted to still connect with that. They only have 4,000 people, and Nelson, BC has 11,000. They all have a sustainability plan. I have looked through them before I was even on council, because I was interested in sustainability for the city just as a resident. So I'm just saying, if that's somehow we want to put that in our focus somewhere, to look through that in your spare time or something, I think that'll help guide us, because we really have no idea what a sustainability plan would look like, maybe for the city. That's just one thing. The mayor's focus was, he thought that items he thinks we should be looking at, which are on that matrix: energy use, water use, waste reduction, food, transportation, e-waste, and air. And I see those topics across the top of that. If we wanted to focus on those, that doesn't mean that's all we can focus on, but that gives us some sort of, yeah.
So wait, I'm sorry, what were they again?
So,
Energy use?
well,
Energy use. So if you
Okay, so
look
we're
at
all gonna take our separate here.
it, is that still on?
This is also still gonna be in the meeting minutes.
They will, okay.
Yeah.
Because if that was still up, I looked real quickly, that a lot of that is on those topics across the top of there. Which just was, okay, so, energy was one of them, energy use, the third column in. And we could use more, we could do how we wanted. He was just suggesting water, I see water from the end, waste reduction, just recycling, waste management is there. Food,
I don't think.
No.
but that,
That's kind of.
to me, that
Waste,
comes under the, like the composting
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing, the food waste, transportation,
It's mobility.
mobility, yeah. E-waste. I don't.
That would be waste management.
Yeah. waste
Yeah.
management.
Okay, all right, okay. And then air, and air is air quality. So that gives us a narrower focus to start. If we want to expand to like urban, open green spaces, things like that, there's nothing to stop us from also putting that in. But I think that gives us focus. It makes him comfortable. I don't want to fight about keeping the sustainability committee going, which I will. So I just think he's pretty educated in planning, land use, et cetera. This is his thing. He would like to see something that results in an actionable plan to enhance our sustainability, which is actually what we are all doing here, I thought. So if that works for anybody or everybody, I'm just sharing. And we said I could share that email. And then, like I said, those other city sustainability plans are interesting and they're good. And they talk about a lot of this stuff.
Maybe those are the topics you focus on.
Yeah. Concerned about.
Keep everyone focused.
That
on
makes
those
it
topics.
easier.
Okay.
Although I would add one in there that I think is vital to the sustainability of this town is housing. I'm actually surprised that didn't come.
Yeah, well, that could be part of all of this. Energy use and housing. Are we doing the right lights? Are we putting in the right?
No, I'm
Toilets.
talking about affordable, like housing, so
Okay.
we have people who can,
Right?
anyway.
Yeah. Yeah,
Add that to the mayor's list. I mean, take it from Katrina's categories, themes, it's there. It's the next to the last one.
housing, right?
Yeah, no, I know it's there. No, it just
And
wasn't on.
maybe a lot of that overlaps
It might.
also.
might.
Right, just saying. That's all I wanted to share. And those cities have interesting sustainability plans. If anybody wants some
Can we, so,
good reading.
can we include on the notes, the,
Simple.
for this meeting, the business plans that she mentioned?
What do you mean? Those cities?
Yeah, those
Okay.
cities. Yeah,
The list of cities.
yeah, the list of cities.
Sure.
And then you said that you could share the mayor's email. Maybe we could attach it to the.
I just shared what he basically said. In the
Okay,
email.
I got that, but I didn't actually write. it
Okay,
all
energy use, water use, that, I
Okay.
mean, is that what you want?
Well, just
in the
in general,
minutes.
anyway. Never mind, it's fine.
Well, these will be in the minutes, and how soon would we have access to the minutes?
So, cause you read them, I think what she was asking. No, so.
She said you could share it, so that's all I'm saying.
Sure.
If not, it's
I
up,
have a-
it's your email, it's up to you if you
I
want
have
to
a
share it.
printed copy. I asked him if I could share it and he said yes.
So if you want, you can forward it to us and attach it, but
Okay.
that's entirely your choice, Pam, because it's your email.
I'll check with him again to make sure.
So which one? So I have energy sources and use, lighting, green, open space, waste management, mobility.
Energy use. If they will be in the
Well,
minutes.
I have energy sources.
Okay, water use, waste reduction, food, transportation, e-waste,
Okay,
and air. Just a suggestion. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but suggestions help us focus since we are kind of new at this whole thing. And then you want to
I'm sorry.
e-waste.
What does that mean?
e-waste, so I throw my computer away. That there's
Batteries.
like, right now I have to take it to Best Buy. They recycle.
Right.
And that would be waste management.
For the city? Or for everyone?
And that's a tricky, waste
Yes.
management in the city have their own contract. Waste manage, the landfill and the county have their own. They don't, the county doesn't get recycling like the city does because of, which we're pretty fortunate. County can't hardly recycle anything.
They do take electronic waste.
Yeah, yeah, the transfer station, it's not a land.
And then Pam, just
Yes,
have it when we leave the meeting. Can
Yes.
you give us those like 5 towns again?
All of this will be in the meeting
Okay.
minutes. Also,
Which
you
will,
guys,
I'm sorry, I lost, people were talking at the same time. And those will be available how soon?
the next day or two,
Great.
So I just,
Did you get those or do you want to see those?
I mean, you read them off with their populations. I feel like it should be
Fast.
pretty easy to type them out.
You go from the recording.
Yeah, Mandy listens to the recording and types up notes.
Sure.
So adding more work for her, but it's just part of the notes, part of the meeting minutes.
Is everybody good?
Yep.
I'm done.
Okay. Well, we got 6, 7 minutes here left. So I guess we can go on to some old business and just any discussion of upcoming city projects, the proposed parking ordinance and relevance these topics to sustainability. Any discussion on that at this stage?
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
City projects are all listed on, well, okay. Current projects are listed on the city's website, but the way I read that, I was gonna make kind of a list for you guys, but I wasn't sure. Are you guys talking just current projects in the city or city funded projects? I was reading that, and I was like, I don't know what that meant.
That's a good question,
Yeah.
because I'm looking at all projects. I'm looking.
So they're not just like capital projects that, you know, like the Boyer last summer where Boyer over there by LPO, where they did like water main
Mhm.
improvements and things like that. And then what's that, all the way from like Division to Boyer, they repaved or something
Right.
last summer. Like, so I wasn't sure if you guys were talking projects like that or just projects in general. Projects in general, can be found, all of them actually can be found on the city's website, either under the planning department. Or if you're looking for capital projects that are like city funded, then those are all under like Public Works. Holly does a really good job of keeping those updated. They might be a little slower right now. Their admin is out on maternity leave. Also, if you know anybody that would like to temp for Public Works and then probably building. Cause the building admin is also gonna go on maternity leave in August.
That's scary. You don't want somebody that might.
Well, it's just
carry on.
admin. It's just admin. It's just
No, I mean,
answering the phone. Well, it's a temp. It's a temp position, cause they're both very much planning on coming back.
And then on the website. Good
Yep.
job.
Those are all,
Okay.
those should be on the website. I know Sam's is listed. She used to clerk for us. Hers is listed. Chris probably isn't listed right now because they're not totally sure when she's gonna go.
sustainability.
Reproduction.
But yeah, so if, what I was getting at though, sorry guys, is if you go on and you find a project and you're curious about it, get a hold of Mandy, she can reach out to me and I can answer pretty much any question that you have. And I can either, I'll have to check with Haley, either email you back or it can be something to discuss at another meeting. I'm happy to, I just don't, we're running out of time and I also don't, I mean, it's kind of hard to give you a rundown on 37 planning projects that I have on my plate right now.
And not all of them are gonna be really relevant,
Right.
but there are some that I think we might wanna take a look at.
Okay. Great.
Big project coming up is the Bridge Street and First Avenue intersection.
Yeah.
That there.
Yep.
So
Like you said, the
that and of course,
proposed parking.
the culvert issue up on Boyer.
Yeah.
And see, so
Yeah.
those are capital projects.
But
Um,
when I was looking at the projects, I was looking at basically everything that the city does, and I mean. Purchasing paper in bulk or whatever, or, you know, listening to the county and the county each department purchases their own paper instead of. Everybody going into a purchase pool time, so,
And one of those topics also was administration
yeah.
in the city, which is, I think, an important one
Uh-huh.
to check on also. So those weren't only list.
Yeah.
Great, thanks. Well, if no other questions, then I guess, we'll adjourn here at, for, 3:58.
Is everybody good?
57.
Deborah, good with what we're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll get this. We will.